Good morning. It's 10:30. Let's get started. My name is Randy Walther, pronouns he, him, and I'll be your worship associate this morning. We're so glad that you're here today. Whether you're online or here in person, you're not only welcome, you're appreciated. No matter how you look or who you love, we're glad to have you here. No matter if you believe in ghosts or not, we appreciate you. This morning, we're honoring those who have passed before us. We will be learning about the Mexican tradition of the Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos. You'll be asked to participate by lighting a candle up here on the candle table a little bit later in the service, and I hope you will all participate. We also have some very special guests with us today. We have a mariachi band. And they're going to play for us right now. This is Mariachi Arriero. Let's welcome them, please.
Llorona, cuando al pasar yo te vi, salías del templo un día, llorona, cuando al pasar yo te vi. Hermoso huipil llevabas, llorona, que la Virgen te creí. Hermoso huipil llevabas, llorona, que la Virgen te creí. Ay de mí, llorona, 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 llévame al río. Ay de mí, llorona, 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 llévame al río. Tápame con bozo, llorona, porque me muero de frío. Tápame con tu rebozo, llorona, porque me muero de frío. No sé qué tienen las flores, llorona, las flores del Campo Santo. No sé qué tienen las flores, llorona, las flores del Campo Santo. Que cuando las mueve el viento, llorona, parece que están llorando. Que cuando las mueve el viento, llorona, parece que están volando. Ay de mí, llorona, 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 llévame al río. Ay de mí, llorona, 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 de azul celeste. Y aunque la vida me cueste, llorona, no dejaré de quererte. Que aunque la vida me cueste, llorona, no dejaré de quererte.
At this time, we're going to have, that was wonderful. We're going to do our sing-along. If everybody could stand up and please join me for De Colores. There's 3 verses. The last one is in Spanish. Do your best. All the colors, yes, the colors we see in the springtime with all of its flowers. All the colors when the sunlight shines out through a rift in the cloud and it showers. All the colors as a rainbow appears when a storm cloud is touched by the sun. All the colors abound for the whole world around and for everyone under the sun. All the colors, yes, the colors of people parading on by with their banners. All the colors when the colors of pennants and streamers and plumes and bandanas. All the colors, yes, the colors of people now taking their place in the sun. All the colors abound for the whole world around and for everyone under the sun. De colores se visten los campos en la primavera. De colores son los pajaritos que vienen de afuera. De colores es al arco iris que vemos lucir. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. Y por eso los grandes amores de muchos colores me gustan a mí. Please be seated and enjoy another selection from Mariachi Arriero.
All right, any kids that want to do the piñata, please come to the front and line up behind Austin, who has the stick. Do not hit Mr. Leo. We will not be blindfolding or twirling or no, hit the piñata, not Mr. Leo. So we're gonna do a piñata. The kids can get some candy, and kids, it would be really nice if you went and gave one piece of candy to someone in the audience. Okay, so Austin, you gonna go first? You stand somewhere where they won't hit something. Yes. All right, ready, go. One more. All right, next. Clay. All right, next. Get it, girl. All right, next. Whew, almost there. Very good. Very good attempt. All right. Julia. Let Julia try. Oh, goodness. Good job. Do one of my teenagers that are in here want to come up? Unless you've already gone to D&D. All right, Clay. Everybody watch out. Back up. Back up. Oh, good Lord. Do not hit Julia in the face. Oh, goodness gracious. Would any adults like to try? We got a smart one. We're almost there. Hard it. Woo. after you get your candy and you give one piece away, let's head to RE through that door. So follow me.
Good morning, everyone. Or perhaps I should say, buenos dias todos, which means the same thing. As some here know, in the last several years of my career, it was my privilege to work for the athletics department at George Mason University. I helped athletes stay eligible for the sport by tutoring them one-on-one in Spanish while I was finishing my master's degree there. Once I was finished with my degree, my thought had been to start actually teaching a class. However, I found the work so rewarding that I decided that I would just continue to do that. It has also been my honor to teach Spanish here at the UUFF last winter and spring, and it is my intention to do so again this coming winter and spring for those that are interested. Spanish has been one of my great passions in life. I took it in high school, college, I did a semester in Spain, and ended up earning an undergraduate degree. I used it in my career in the software business, and I use it all the time regularly to this day. As my students who have here today can attest, when I teach a class, I insist on teaching a culture lesson in every single class that I teach, because I'm of the very firm opinion that culture and the language are inextricably intertwined with each other, and to understand one, you need to understand the other. Holidays and traditions are an important part of culture in any society. So on that basis, I would like to talk to you all today about an important Hispanic holiday called Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead. To first begin to talk about Dia de los Muertos, we need to understand that in fact there are 3 holidays that occur back to back in the Spanish-speaking world. First, on October the 31st, there's Dia de las Brujas, literally translated meaning Day of the Witches. However, we're going to call it Halloween. November the 2nd is called Dia de Todos los Santos, or All Saints' Day. And then November the 2nd is Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead, also called in some places such as Spain, All Souls' Day. Dia de las Brujas is very similar to Halloween here in the United States, but typically without trick-or-treating, for example. In many Spanish-speaking countries, costumes are worn and often are supernatural or death-related in some way. There are typically parties, special foods, parades, all that kind of a thing. The vibrant university town of Alcalá de Henares in Spain usually puts on a killer zombie march featuring drummers and dancing in the street, and it also hosts a massive theatrical production based on the famous play by José Zorrilla, Don Juan Tenorio. In Catalonia, which is the northeast part of Spain, where Barcelona is, there is a tradition in the small village of Sant Feliu Sasserra, where a fascinating 2-day witch festival is held every year in the honor of the 23 women who were sentenced to death during the Inquisition after being accused of witchcraft. Dia de Todos los Santos, on the other hand, has a more religious context as it is closely associated with Christianity. In Spain, they celebrate All Saints' Day by visiting cemeteries to lay flowers on graves, attend special church masses, and prepare traditional foods. Cemeteries are often filled with colorful flowers, and in Catalonia, the celebration is combined with the Castañada, a feast of roasted chestnuts and sweet potatoes. In Mexico, Dia de Todos los Santos marks the beginning of the 2-day celebration of Dia de los Muertos, Dia de Todos los Santos is dedicated to honoring all saints, which is distinct from the Day of the Dead on November the 2nd, which honors all departed souls. In Mexico, November the 1st is specifically for remembering deceased children and infants, while November the 2nd is more for remembering the deceased adults. Tradition states that the gates of heaven are opened at midnight on October the 31st, and the spirits of children can rejoin their families for 24 hours, while the spirits of adults are able to cross over on November the 2nd to be with their loved ones. Dia de los Muertos traces its origins back to indigenous cultures. Pre-Columbian civilizations have practiced rituals celebrating the deaths of ancestors for as long as 2,500 to 3,000 years. It was common to keep skulls as trophies and display them during the rituals to symbolize death and rebirth. Day of the Dead celebrations have morphed over the years to become the Latino tradition it is now. Decorative altars, colorful flowers, and delicious food are all integral to the Day of the Dead festivities. In Guatemala, there is a spectacular kite festival, and giant kites, or barriletes gigantes, reaching diameters of almost 30 feet, made of bamboo and colored paper, and are assembled and flown to honor the departed souls. Here in the United States, it is important for us all to remember that one-third of our country was in fact Mexico at one point. Day of the Dead rituals in the United States date back to the 1890s. Families participated in somber and religious ceremonies, such as taking Mass, visiting family grave sites, and decorating with flowers, without many of the indigenous elements we see associated with the holiday today. In the 1970s, the Day of the Dead in the United States began to be transformed into the holiday we see today by artists and activists who used it as a tool for identity building, seeking to recognize and celebrate their indigenous roots as a part of their Mexican-American heritage and to create a new Chicano identity. Mexican Day of the Dead, far from being a morose occasion, is much more a celebration of life and of the lives of departed loved ones. There are costumes, parades, special foods, and ofrendas, which we have here, ofrendas, or an offering in English, with flowers, candles, favorite foods, personal mementos, and photos of the deceased. It often culminates in a procession to the cemetery to place similar items on the graves of departed loved ones. Marigolds are used for the Day of the Dead to guide spirits home to their families because of their bright colors and strong scent, and are believed to lead the dead to the altars or grave sites. Butterflies also displayed because they represent the souls of the departed. The flowers act as a bridge between the worlds of the living and the dead and symbolize the fragility and brevity of life. I would like to now show you a video to give you a better idea and a much deeper understanding of what Dia de los Muertos looks like in Mexico.
On the holiday of Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead, grief and joy come together in a vibrant display of remembrance.
Dia de los Muertos becomes the day with which to honor and celebrate the people who you've lost and the people who you love still.
Arizona State University's Matthew Sandoval researches Dia de los Muertos, celebrated in Mexico and other parts of Latin America each year on November 1st and 2nd.
Even though it's called Day of the Dead, it's really not a singular day. It's a series of days, generally celebrated on November 1st and 2nd, which correspond to the Catholic holy days, All Saints' Day and All Souls' Day. Dia de los Muertos is also the opportunity to honor one's ancestors. And for Mexicans, Mexican Americans, and Latinos, this usually means like honoring the deep, deep ancestors, the holders of our culture, who've been able to pass this cultural practice down over generations or over the ages that we inherit.
The celebrations involve brightly decorated ofrendas, or altars, covered in orange marigolds, pictures of loved ones who have died and their favorite things.
There really is no singular traditional ofrenda, but then it's also a personal expression for the person who I'm honoring. Like, so my father would want certain things on the altar when he comes back. He's going to want the cheapest beer possible on his altar. That's just a part of who he is. So I have to put that on my ofrenda in order to honor him. That's really what makes them artistic pieces for me too, is that so much of them are personal expressions. They're not just cultural expressions, they're deeply personal expressions.
Sandoval says the recent addition of dressing as death in American celebrations is less traditional but growing, as acceptance of Dia de los Muertos permeates American culture more widely.
Masquerading as death is not like a very long-standing tradition of Dia de los Muertos. It's literally like 40 years old, and it's something that like Chicanos added to this particular tradition. And so for a lot of Mexican and Mexican-American communities in the United States, they didn't practice Dia de los Muertos in public, precisely because it was a way to avoid being discriminated against. It was the performing artists and visual artists in the 60s and 70s of the Chicano movement, the Chicano arts movement specifically, who kind of revived Dia de los Muertos and brought it into many communities across California and the Southwest.
In the last decade, Sandoval has seen the question of cultural appropriation popping up around the holiday, but he says many people in the community welcome the participation.
Mexicans and Latinos, Mexican Americans, make it an open event precisely because we know that Dia de los Muertos is also medicine in a very real sense, that it allows people to heal and deal with death.
Day of the Dead is not the same as Halloween, but Sandoval says the two autumnal holidays have become linked, both in America and in Mexico.
Dia de los Muertos is starting to become fused with Halloween in really profound ways, so that people are celebrating Dia de los Muertos where they may have celebrated Halloween in the past, because now this has more cultural significance or just like community significance.
These community celebrations are one way to find closure around loss and death, two inevitable parts of life.
Death is filled with pain and difficulty. The beautiful thing about Dia de los Muertos is that it allows that pain and that difficulty to be transformed through joyous celebration, so that it's not about just sitting in the difficulty of death. It's about activating that in order to transform it through joyous, raucous celebration, colorful celebration.
A celebration meant to honor the past by those who are still in the present. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Casey Kuhn.
Okay, well, I hope that gives you all a better understanding of the fascinating holiday Dia de los Muertos in the Hispanic world. And I would like to say one more thing, and that's gracias muchísimas a los músicos. Estamos orgullosos para tenerlos aquí. Bien? Thank you.
Marcia's going to come up and do a poem reading for us.
Hold on. Hold, please. I apologize, folks. It's been a while since I have been up here. Usually we have it written up here for us. I've got it, I promise. While I've got the mic, I'll talk to you about the gratitude market that's happening in just 3 weeks that the church is having a big part of. And if you guys would come support, we're looking for any types of volunteers. And so please, please come out on November 22nd. Oh my gosh. I had one job today, folks. I had one job. I need you, Jackie. I don't have it. It's supposed to be a reading, but he didn't send it. He just asked me if I would do it. Just forget it. Scratch it. That's crazy. Just check anything.
I'll put you back in if we have time. Well, we've come to the place in our service where we would like for you to participate. If you brought a photo or something else that's a reminder of a loved one who has passed, we invite you to bring that up to our altar and light a candle to honor your loved one. Even if you did not bring any items this morning, you're still welcome to come to the altar while our mariachi band plays and light a candle. Maybe you'll even want to ask your loved one for some help. I invite our band to come up and play now, and as they do, please form a line to light a candle.
El final se acerca ya, lo esperaré serenamente. Ya ves, yo he sido así, te lo diré sinceramente. Viví la inmensidad sin conocer jamás fronteras. Si bien todo esto fue a mi manera, jamás viví un amor que para mí fuera importante. Corté solo la flor y lo mejor de cada instante. Viajé y disfruté, no sé si más que otro cualquiera. Jugué sin descansar a mi manera. Tal vez lloré o tal vez reí, tal vez gané o tal vez perdí. Ahora sé que fui feliz, que si lloré también amé. Puedo seguir hasta el final a mi manera. Quizá también dudé cuando yo más me divertía. Quizá desperdicié aquello que no comprendía. Hoy sé que firme fui, que afronté. Seré como era y así logré vivir a mi manera, porque sabrás que un hombre al fin conocerás por su vivir. No hay por qué hablar ni qué decir, ni recordar, ni qué fingir. Puedo seguir hasta el final a mi manera. Negrita de mis pesares, ojos de papel volando, negrita de mis pesares, ojos de papel volando, a todos diles que sí, pero no les digas cuando así me dijiste a mí, por eso vivo velando. La quiero ver aquí con su rebozo de seda, que letra que le temí.
So we're now going to open the mics for you to share about people who you've loved and who have passed away. Please be very brief. I expect all of you to get up and say something. But if you do have something to say, stand up now and we'll bring a microphone to you.
Thank you. This was lovely. I learned some things that I didn't know already. But I wanted to mention my father. He passed in 2005, but he also was in love with Spanish and studied it in college. And he was in the Marine Corps, and we did live in the Dominican Republic for 3 years when I was growing up. So it's just in memory of him, I wanted to speak up. So it was appropriate too for today. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, hi. I just lost my dearest male friend. We were friends for over 70 years, and he was my attorney for many, many years, and he was a lovely man, and I miss him dearly.
When I selected a portrait of my paternal grandparents, I really was not thinking about the connection with Spain, but my grandparents immigrated from Eastern Europe, but my grandfather's family were originally from Spain. They were Jews in Spain and left during the Spanish Inquisition and went to Eastern Europe. So the significance of being here on this particular day is special.
I couldn't find a picture of my grandmother Anne, but I think about her daily. She was kind of a UU badass. She founded PFLAG in Norfolk. She helped run Hampton Roads Pride for many years, ran drag bingo for many years, and they had a scholarship in her name. She marched in AIDS parades. She drove people to the polls. She was a warrior for justice and equality and a die-hard UU. And so I want to think about her a little bit.
My mother lived to be 90, and one thing she taught me is to have empathy for other people, that you never know when you walk down the road that somebody's going to be in a state of sorrow. And if they act out, then you need to understand that's going to happen. And so I really appreciate my mother's sense of awareness of other people and the caring that she took toward other people.
I want to honor my grandmother, who we called Oma, and my grandchildren call me Oma. And whenever they do, it makes my heart feel good.
Hi, I'd like to honor my dad, Sean Plunkett. He was always full of laughter. He liked to share a lot of jokes, great at storytelling, and just liked to create a lot of positivity. So that's something that I really miss about him, and something that I try to kind of continue on in my day when I think about him, and just try to create positive moments and connections with other people.
Hello, everyone. Happy Dia de los Muertos. I'm thinking a lot about both of my parents. I lost one in 2010 and the other in 2012. My father was a jazz musician in Charlottesville and brought a lot of joy and love to people through his music. And my mother was, didn't finish college, but was a very fierce educator. And from the time I was very small, she was teaching me to stand up for myself. She taught me that Barbie was a feminist. When she took Barbie's Corvette and showed me that Ken wouldn't fit in the driver's seat. And so she took Ken out of the car and she put black Barbie, actually, in the driver's seat, and she said, "You see how Barbie fits? Because it's Barbie's car. All of this stuff is Barbie's. And one day you're going to grow up and have all of your own stuff just like Barbie. All you got to do is go to college and get an education." So I love both of my parents, and she was a gospel singer too. So I had a lot of music and love and learning, and my mom was a serious voter. So I honor them today. Thank you.
I'd like to remember my Uncle Lawrence. I never actually met him. He died in Japanese prison camp in the Philippines, and was very much missed around my grandparents' dinner table. And if anyone wants to know why we had troops stationed in the Philippines in the 1940s, I'm happy to talk about that too.
So I actually have a picture of my parents, and they're just looking at each other so lovingly, and it just reminded me how much they taught me. But this past week, I've been sitting with a neighbor's grandmother while she's been on hospice care. And one of the things I realized is that she's an indigenous woman who was raised out on the West Coast. And this all just got a little bit crazy, because on Halloween night, I went over there, and she started breathing better, and everything just seemed great. And at 2:45 on Saturday morning, she passed. And I'm like, wow, this just all kind of came together for me here. So Godspeed, Dolores.
I figured I'd talk today about my Aunt Nell instead of, everybody loses a lot of people. But somehow we ended up living next door, instead of to grandparents, to my grandmother's brother and his wife. And his wife's name was Nell, and she was a very special human. They lived in this crazy historical house that was supposedly built by George Washington's brother, but it was old. So in the later years, I just remember the smell of Bengay and propane heaters. But every day after school, my brother and I would fight like crazy, so I would just go next door. And I would sit in her kitchen, and she would microwave chocolate milk and call it hot chocolate. And, and I would sit there and just write down recipes out of her really, really old Better Homes and Gardens cookbooks. She had like 50 of them. But she was very, very strict on moral anything. You couldn't trash talk anybody. You couldn't complain about your family. Nothing. But you could spend as long as you wanted in her kitchen talking about nice things.
I have a reading, Call on Your Friends. Author Julie Cameron writes, "Some time ago, I was struggling with single motherhood. At the suggestion of a friend, I went to see an old Catholic priest. He put me quickly at ease. We all have problems and we all need help, he told me. I expected him to counsel me to pray, or perhaps offer up my suffering to God. Instead, he reached into a desk drawer and pulled out a pack of what looked like baseball trading cards. He passed the cards across the desk. 'These are my friends,' he said. 'Some people might call them dead.' Sure enough, amid the old cards of conventional Catholic saints, there was a scattering of handmade cards, news clippings, obituaries, taped off a stiff cardboard. When I am in trouble or I just need a favor, I call on my friends," the old priest chuckled. "Take the doctor there. When somebody's got a health problem, I take it to him. He owes me." So he hops right on it. "Do you have any relatives who've passed over?" He wondered. "I named a favorite aunt. So let's talk about her," he said. "She'd probably love to get involved." With a little merry laugh, he took back his cards and put them away. "It's nice to have your friends around," he said. Returning home, Julie writes, "I found myself chuckling. He's right, I thought. Spirituality shouldn't be so goddamn serious. Thank you.
Okay, just a couple of announcements about UU 101. If you're interested in becoming a UU member, there is a class on the first Sunday of the month after the service, which means that would be today. And see Kit if you have any questions, and it's going to be in the boardroom. And is there anything else to add about that you need to share? Come quickly so you don't miss it. All right. Also after service today, we're having our trunk or treat. So if you have a trunk and you have candy and you are ready to give out treats, please join us in the parking lot after service. And if you have questions, you are going to ask Jackie about it. All right, perfect. And then finally, Marcia asked me to reiterate about the gratitude market that's going to be on November the 22nd. And I don't know much about it, but it says Healing Together as Community from 12 to 5. And there's going to be some great items being sold there. It looks like there's going to be a lot of great people, metaphysical goods and services, readers and healers, holistic wellness, nonprofits, and community outreach. So please see Marcia if you have any other questions about the Gratitude Market coming up on November 22nd. And that is at 7100 Steckler Way in Spotsylvania, across from Riverbend High School. All right, and we don't have time for that today, so I'm going to turn it over to Randy for our closing words.
The UUF needs your generous support. It costs us about $6,000 a week to run this fellowship. We need each and every person to help us with that cost. If you love the fellowship and are not giving on a regular basis, I encourage you to consider being a monthly donor. We also have an offering basket in the back for your donations. You can also use a credit card. Please see Jackie for that. So please join me in standing and saying our closing words as I extinguish the chalice. 3 things will last forever: faith, hope, and love. The greatest of these is love. Walk in that love. And the band plays on.
Thank you again, Mariachi Arriero.
De la Sierra Morena, cielito lindo, vienen bajando un par de ojitos negros, cielito lindo, de contrabando. De la Sierra Morena, cielito lindo, vienen bajando un par de ojitos negros, cielito lindo, de contrabando. Ay, 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 canta y no llores, porque cantando se alegran, cielito lindo, los corazones. De domingo a domingo, cielito lindo, te vengo a ver. ¿Cuándo será domingo, cielito lindo, para volver? De domingo a domingo, cielito lindo, te vengo a ver. ¿Cuándo será domingo, cielito lindo, para volver? Thank you, everybody. This is the Mariachi Arrieros. Sí, señor.
Hey, just to let everybody know, the goat farmers are outside too, at the far end of the parking lot if anybody wants to go meet the goat farmers.